And the Vechain rally continues. Guys, today we are going to be diving into the world of Vechain, talking specifically about the price action of VET. Welcome back to Cheeky Crypto. My name is Nick, and if you do find this video useful and informative, hit the like button. I really do appreciate that. If you happen to be new, why not go ahead and subscribe, tap that bell, select all notifications, and in doing so, you will be kept up to date with absolutely everything we do here. Right, with that said, done and out of the way, let's dive into a little bit of technical analysis here on Vechain. We're going to start with the weekly, guys, and weekly chart, just starting things off back in March of 2020. This is where we start to see these 5 impulse waves and where they formed. Again, this was March 2020 through to a peak of wave 3 up here in April of 2021. That was a 399-day move that saw 18,295% in gains. Those gains were significantly higher than many of those safer bets, such as Bitcoin, for example, which only had 1,600% in the same time period, with Ethereum only getting 5,100 in that same period also. So Vechain's definitely performed incredibly well. It's definitely not been, a slow mover or just traded sideways or only ever goes down, despite some of the comments that you may see in our videos or other comments on other videos. Ultimately, depending on where you bought Vechain, if you're paying attention to the channel back in October when we first started the channel, you'll know that we were big on Vechain back here. And obviously, we were talking about things really moving up nicely. And this is where you started to see the peak of wave 3 and before going into that 4th wave correction. Now, if you're unfortunate enough to buy at the wave 3 and have endured this correction wave, fear not, because things are looking to heat up as we finish off this Q4 in a really strong way for Vechain. We do anticipate Vechain moving to $1.01. That seems to be the 4.236 extension on the Fibonacci retracement tool. I'll get into that in a moment. So overall, the performance has been very, very good. We can see another 776% from the current position to that $1 level, and everything's moving up nicely. We can see that we are lowering our stochastic and looking to get a reversal on this soon to carry us back up into the overbought area. Again, this is an area that we're overbought for in wave 1, overbought for in wave 3, and again, even the dip in the middle here for wave 3 as well before peaking out. So oversold in wave 4 and wave 2, and of course at the beginning of the bull run. So overall, everything's lining up quite nicely for Vechain on this weekly chart. So when we jump down into our daily, this is where we start to talk about that Fibonacci retracement tool and everything that's been going on there. Let me just pull this back down a little bit, guys, and we can take a look at what's going on. So basically at the top of wave 3, we have this area here. It comes in at 28 cents. We then pulled back dramatically, very rapidly, all the way to the downside here. This came in at 5.2 cents. Okay, that was our low point just here. Okay, and then we started to see a push back up, and then basically bottoming out down at the bottom in this area, right? This was basically an accumulation zone. For any one of our members who were aware, this is where we're calling out, okay, we're wicking into this area. We're not really spending too much time down here. This definitely seems to be the buy area if you're going to be buying up a huge portion of Vechain. Otherwise, dollar cost averaging and buying the dips also works well, right? So we're communicating that out to our members. So hopefully you guys were paying attention there. Obviously, we have started to move up quite nicely most recently in a very similar way that we did previously from this area here. We are, of course, overbought, but we were overbought in this area here as well, so we can stay up here for quite some time on the daily. Okay, so this isn't concerning me. We've still got a lot more room to grow just yet. Now, of course, we have that cup and handle pattern that we've been talking about, and the cup and handle pattern puts us just up here on the 786 area of the Fibonacci retracement tool. So guys, that basically means that we're looking to push up in October to at least 23 cents in my opinion. Okay, so that seems to be our price expectation on that cup and handle, putting us right into this key area. Once we get a closed candle above that 786, that's where we start talking about new price discovery and all-time highs. We aren't quite there yet, but we are, of course, looking to move our way out of this area in October. So things are definitely moving up nicely so far, completing this cup and handle up in this area, allowing us then to go into price discovery after a small pullback here. Okay, so that would be my expectation. So November should be a month of all-time highs for Vechain. Again, here we can see the performance of wave 3 and wave 4. Okay, those two waves basically allow us to see that $1.01 area on the charts. Okay, so we don't just pluck $1 out of the thin air. It is based on science here. The 5 impulse waves, the performance that we've seen with wave 3 and the performance of wave 4 indicating $1. I cannot get to any real higher than that. It's really difficult to really manipulate this in any way to kind of put bar patterns on or whatever to try to make it go higher. Personally, I do feel that $1.01 is pretty much the limit on Vechain this particular cycle, but I would love to be wrong. I would love for it to go more. So if it does, then I would love to be wrong on that. But for me personally, I do see $1.01, 776% from the current position. Okay, and again, there are some key areas that we should expect some volatility around, such as 42 cent, 64 cent, 87 cent, and of course that $1.01 area. Okay, so those areas are where the traders will be trading based on the performance that we've seen here. Okay. Now, the cup and handle takes us to our key areas where we then talk about price discovery for November. Okay, perfect. Right. So as we come down into our hourly view, this is where we start to see that volatility. Okay. And despite some of the things I was talking about earlier in the week, I was expecting to see a bit of a pullback earlier, right? Because we were actually overbought and we were actually looking for a pullback, but we sustained it, right? A small pullback, and then we continued the run to the upside. It was fantastic to see. Now, if we actually pull this down a little bit here, we can see this run to the upside. We found some resistance. We've recently broken through today, going up a little bit higher, finding resistance now up at 11.5 cent. Let me just make this a little bit bigger and you can see what's going on here, right? So we rallied all the way up here, stayed overbought, right? I was actually expecting us to pull down over here, specifically when we started to find this resistance, but instead what we saw was the stochastic RSI momentum get wiped out. And I think I said this on the stream yesterday, right? We wiped out that stochastic RSI and then rallied up, right? Then we were oversold whilst we traded sideways. This was like beautifully executed. And then we rallied up again, right? So now what we're looking for, now we're finding this resistance just here, is to basically take out that stochastic again, right? So in order for that to happen, what we need is we need good volume surging in and then the volume to just completely die, right? And if we can start seeing that, which we already are, look, we're already seeing that volume die out here. And we're looking to now completely drop this stochastic whilst trading sideways. My expectation will be that we'd end up with a similar kind of trade sideways here and that we saw. So in between these two areas, a good support level, 11.2, and a good resistance level, 11.5. Okay, and then basically just wipe this stochastic down. And then once we're here, move back up again. Okay, so Vechain shows no signs of wanting to stop at this point in time. Okay, so there are a few things that could stop it, Bitcoin for example, etc, etc. If there's a true sentiment shift in the space, so if a lot of fear enters the market for Vechain, you could start to see it shift that way around. But overall, for the most part, it definitely seems to be wanting to continue this pattern here, right? We move up, we trade sideways, we move up, we trade sideways, we move up, we'll trade sideways, we'll move up. Okay, this seems to be what's looking to happen. And if we continue that, then we'll be in a very similar position that we were, if I go back to my daily, than we were over here. This kind of continuation of a push to the upside. At some point, it won't be sustainable and we'll have to kind of cool off a little bit. But again, that will allow us to move up nicely to the next area. So my expectations, guys, as I said, is to move up to 23 cent with Vechain. And I think this pattern here on the daily chart and the hourly chart is going to continue, right? And push up, sideways, and continue. So Vechain shows no signs of wanting to stop. So as long as we don't get any big macro events that cause it to have a significant pullback, do expect Vechain to continue this nice rally that it is currently seeing. Obviously, do monitor that stochastic RSI. We need to see that momentum get pulled out. That being said, we can, of course, stay up here for quite a while as we were previously. And we can, of course, rally up whilst dropping that stochastic as well. So everything's looking pretty good right now for this. So really good to see this kind of momentum continue with Vechain. A new trend has formed and long may it last as we continue to rally up. The next target, 13.2, followed by 14.1 and then 15.2. Overall, some pretty good targets with the bigger target in mind of 23 cent for October. Guys, I'm going to leave the video there, but hopefully you have found this video useful and informative. If you have, hit that like button. I really do appreciate that. If you happen to be new, why not go ahead and subscribe, tap that bell, select all notifications, and in doing so, you will be kept up to date with absolutely everything that you do here at Cheeky Crypto. With this said, done, and out of the way, I hope everyone has a fantastic day, and I'll catch you all in the next one.